for the Dublin Senior Hurling and Football Championships of the go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling and Football Championships. The draws for the Intermediate and Junior Championships, by the way, will also be made today, and you'll be able to get the detail of those a little bit later on all the Dublin social media channels and, of course, the Dublin GAA website, which is dublingaa.ie. We have brought the finest minds in Dublin GAA along to analyse the draw as it happens. We'll start with the hurling, but we'll also do the football a little bit later on. Coman, Goggins, how are you?
Good, Oisin. Thanks a million.
Good. It is coming around quick and fast again, isn't it, the club championship?
Yeah, well, for the greatest minds, it certainly is. Yeah, it's great. Club competition is always great in Dublin, so look forward to the draw. It generates great conversation for sure.
I should have said the greatest minds and Coman. Let's go to Dotsy O'Callaghan. Dotsy, how are you?
Oh, Shane, how are you keeping?
Very good. Are you looking forward to the draw?
I am, yeah, excited about it, to be honest. I suppose it's the big talking point is the restructuring of the championships as well. So it's promising to make the three senior competitions ultra competitive. So it'll be very interesting to see what's thrown up. And
last year was a quality championship as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and it kind of finished off with a great live on RTE county final there as well with Crokes and the Fianna, and a great exhibition of Dublin hurling as well. So they were the two standout teams last year as well. So it'll be interesting to see maybe can they maintain that form kind of coming into this season as well.
And of course, RTE joining TG Cahir in covering club games. Dublin GAA, of course, covering club games as well with Dubs TV. And there will be details of the coverage announced closer to the time. Now, Dotsy did touch on it there. There is a change to the format in the Senior Hurling Championship. There effectively be 3 tiers, Senior 1, Senior 2 and Senior 3. We are about to make the draw for these new tiers in the championship, and along to make the draw is Go Ahead CEO Andy Edwards, Ken O'Sullivan, Vice Chairperson of Dublin County Board, and of course Elaine Dolan, Vice Chairperson of the CCCC. Good afternoon to you all. How are you? Are you ready to go? Okay, we will commence the draw for Senior Championship 3.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. We'll take the draw for the Senior 3 Championship first. John, do you have the papers? They're here. Okay, I'll take the first one. All right. There it is. And the first team out is Coola 2. Coola 2.
A team that have been very successful in the last couple of years, along with Coola 1, obviously.
Next team out is Aaron's Isle.
Andy, would you like to take it?
Fine.
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
Setanta.
Setanta, a fine tradition of hurling in Setanta. Eventually the club will turn into Cuchulainn.
Crumlin.
Crumlin. Speaking of fine traditions of hurling, out come Crumlin.
Nave Olaf.
Nave Olaf.
Nave Baroque.
Rahini.
Clontarf.
O'Toole's.
Kilmacud Crokes 3.
And I think that completes the draw for the Senior 3 Championship. Dotsy, lots of big teams, lots of, I suppose, big games coming up in that.
Yeah, Oisin, I suppose I was involved with Nave all of last season, very enjoyable season, and they'll be looking to kick on again next season. I suppose the only team that would have beaten us last year were Aaron's Isle, who went on to lose the final to Fingalians, but Isles are very strong. They've been making huge strides in hurling and a lot of work going in there underage. I think they 3 lads starting on the Dublin minor team there recently as well. So Conor Donoghue is a recent addition to the Dublin senior panel as well, so they'll be looking to kick on as well. And you spoke about Setanta there as well. Listen, they're a great club. They make the most of everything they have, and they really pull together, and they manage to always come up with results and dig it out and drive on. So they'll be thereabouts as well. So Coola too and Crumlin obviously are very strong as well. So look, we spoke about it earlier that it's going to be ultra competitive there in that group as well. And obviously the other group, then you've Naomh Barrow, who are they're playing in Division 1, so they've got massive experience again. Another club putting a lot of work into hurling, and would have had 3 lads starting on the Dublin under-20 team there as well recently. So they're there. Raheny obviously have a lot of experience at the higher levels as well. Along with Clontarf as well, and O'Toole. So look, ultra competitive there, both groups as well. So all teams will fancy their chances of being able to come through the group and get out of the group, but obviously only a certain amount of teams will do that. But it'll definitely be competitive and close encounters all over.
And Dotsy, just before we move on to the draw for Senior 2, how important is it to have this extra tier at senior level?
Yeah, look, I just think the way the hurling had gone maybe the last few years and the results we were seeing, I think it just looks well. I think the numbers, I think it's the whoever's behind it, obviously they've got it right, and I think it's separated nicely that these tiers are going to be ultra competitive, and that's what we want. You want kind of ultra competitive games and championships as well, and there's a lot of these clubs as well are striving to get up the ranks as well, and they're really going to have to earn it, and that'll have a knock-on effect, I think, on the standard of hurling all round, to be honest with you. So look, as I said, it's going to be very, very hard, and whoever comes out of this will really earn it, and will earn that promotion then up to the next tier.
Okay, we're about to make the draw for Senior 2. If you want to check the detail of the draw for Senior 3, then go to dublingaa.ie or check out the Dublin GAA social media channels. Let's hand back to Ken and Elaine for the draw for the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Hurling Championship 2 tier.
Whitehall, Columkill.
Whitehall, Columkill. Got some fine players, Whitehall. They'll be in the running to win this. Have to get out of the group first, of course. Not always easy.
Ballyboden, St. Enda's.
Ballyboden, St. Enda's.
Volunteer, St. John's.
Volunteer, St. John's. The club of Coman Goggins. Right beside Marley Park.
Fogs.
Great club. Fogs. We've mentioned hurling tradition. Fogs are very much in that vein.
Scully Cunnell.
Scully Cunnell.
Na Fianna 2.
Na Fianna 2. Lots of the clubs that were competitive at Senior 1 in the last couple of years have got second teams. Na Fianna. They've been excellent at this level in the last couple of years. Kilmacud Crokes 2. Another team who've been fighting for honours at this grade.
Castleknock.
Castleknock.
Thomas Davis.
Thomas Davis. So there you go. There's your 2 groups for the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Hurling Championship 2. Dotsy, you'd be hard pressed to pick who's going to come out of these groups.
Yeah, you would, Oisin. Yeah, so you spoke seeing Whitehall coming out first there as well. So again, maybe seeing the last previous few years what they're capable of, and lots of talent. And I suppose the big issue with them maybe is they've a large amount of dual players as well. So it's trying to get that right. And I know Anthony Holly from the football in Whitehall as well does great work and trying to gel that together as well. So if they can get that right, if they can get that balance and get lads kind of, motoring in both games, that will generally have a knock-on effect as well. So they're obviously very formidable as well. And we know the club second teams as well that are in it are very strong, and lots of talented players on them as well. And you've obviously got Fogs then. They've been going quite well in Division 1. I think they were unfortunately beaten last night in a Leinster League semi-final. So they are putting in a huge effort this year, obviously, and would be mad keen to get up to that, to senior A status. So look, yeah, Ballantyre St. John's again, we know have been up there, and have had good recent minor teams as well, and had a bit of success there as well. So ultra competitive there, and as you said, Finbars are always there or thereabouts, and have won the Senior B in recent years as well. Thrown in Castleknock there, who won it last year.
Yep.
And have been making great strides as well. So Thomas Davis is then again, Willie Bryan is doing a good job with them, and they're building along nicely. Some good league results as well. So look, as we said, it looks ultra competitive again there in both groups as well. So you're probably, I suppose the standout teams looking at it there will probably be Whitehall if they can really get it together, and you're looking at Ballantyre and Fogs will have a huge say in it as well, and lots of other teams as well, Oisin. So again, ultra competitive is what which is great and what we want to see.
And last year, Owen O'Donnell was injured for a lot of Whitehall's campaign, which was very, very damaging. Not only is he a great fullback, he's also a great Dubs TV co-commentator and analyst. Right, let's move to the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Hurling Championship 1 draw. Just a reminder, Kilmacud Crokes and Nafina, the 2 finalists last year, and what a final it was, are seeded for this draw. Let's cross back over to Ken O'Sullivan, Vice Chairperson of Dublin County Board, and Elaine Dolan, Vice Chair of the CCCC. Nafina, the finalist last year, so close to winning it. A bit of Ronan Hayes magic denying them the title.
Kilmacud Crokes.
Kilmacud Crokes, the champions. Beaten in Leinster by Clough-Ballachulla. St. Jude's. A team who are always there or thereabouts.
Crave Kieran.
Crave Kieran.
Ballyboden St. Enda's.
Ballyboden St. Enda's. Winners in recent years. They'll want to be winners again.
Lucan Sarsfields.
Lucan Sarsfields. A growing threat at Senior 1 level, I think it's fair to call them.
St. Oliver Plunkett's own row.
Oliver Plunkett's own row. Back in the top tier and getting better all the time.
St. Vincent's.
St. Vincent's, a club of such tradition, but it's been a long wait since they got a senior hurling title. Coola, twice All-Ireland champions. What more can we say? And they'll want to get back on top in Dublin.
St. Bridget's.
And St. Bridget's, a team who are always capable of big results, big performances, and maybe this year a big run in the championship. Dotsy, no matter what the draw was going to be, it was always going to provide, tough matches and tantalizing games. And I think it's fair to say we are going to get them, aren't we, in these two groups?
Yeah, certainly, Oisin, some juicy looking encounters coming up there. We spoke about maybe the previous few years, kind of, round one a championship and lopsided games and stuff. So look, there doesn't look like there's going to be any of that this year as well. So two groups, yeah, we've seen Nafina and Kilmacud getting drawn out first there as well. So obviously they'll be renewing rivalries early on as well. And look, Ballyboden have been going extremely well under David Curtin this year in the league. So they're going to be in with a massive say as well. And the Crave and Judes are always capable of beating any team on their day. So they'll all be looking forward to them, I'm sure. And obviously the other group then as well, you've Luke and Sarsfields, who are, as you said, they're building the whole time and are regularly in semi-finals and have been in a few finals as well. So they've got they've been going as well, very well in the league this year as well. So they'll certainly be looking forward to that as well. And along with Vincent's, are building a young team there as well. A lot of talented players. Rian McBride we're seeing is in flying form as well. So if he can bring that into the club. Into the club championship, he'll be a huge bonus for Vincent's as well. So, Akula obviously as well. We know what they've done in the past, and I think they've Cullum Cronin is back from abroad, so he'll be a huge lift to Kula as well. And if they get all their players motoring as well, I'm sure there could be a big kick in that group of players as well.
Do you like the new format of having an extra game in the group stages, and for the winner of the group, there is a real incentive of going straight to the semi-final? Do you like that format?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I suppose with the other teams getting out of the group, it'll keep it ultra competitive for up until the last round as well. But look, all these teams will want to be they'll want to be coming straight through and targeting every match and winning every match. So. But look, as we said, that's not good. Teams are going to lose games, but they're going to be still in with a massive shout right up until hopefully the last day, and that's what will make it real, make it interesting and exciting for all the supporters.
And if you're a player and you're seeing the draws being made, does that make it more real? Is there a bit of a buzz when the draws are made and you know who you're going to be facing in championship, even though it's a little bit of a while away? And let's hope it's a long way away, because if Dublin go on a bit of a run, then it is a long way away, or longish anyway.
It is, yeah, but absolutely. I mean, the players are at this level are putting in massive work right throughout the year. So this kind of gives, it can be hard maybe, the league is the league and the teams are enjoying building up towards the championship. But I suppose you want to see what's ahead of you, so they'll be delighted seeing, seeing the groups. And I suppose it can it just helps maybe give you something to build towards and look forward to, and maybe start getting motivated for what you're going to be coming up against as well. Obviously, it's a long way off as well, and hopefully the Dubs can go on a good run this season as well. But this will certainly be, we're saying maybe with the county season finishing early that we'd be losing a bit of our GAA fix or whatever. But this is obviously something to look forward to come into after that.
Yeah, I think people who say that have not seen decent club games, and they really need to get their eyes on it. And we're going to see some decent games in Dublin this year, in both codes and at all levels and in all tiers. So just a reminder, there's the two groups in the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Tier 1, Nafina, St. Jude's, Ballyboden, St. Enda's, St. Oliver, Plunkett's, Owen Rua, and Coola all in the one group. Kilmacud, Crokes, Crave, Kieran, Lucan Sars, St. Vincent's and St. Bridget's all in Group 2. It's almost time to move on to the football championship. Dotsy, I know you are going along to Parnell Park on Saturday evening, and you're confident of the Dubs doing what they need to do.
Yeah, I suppose it's a time for them to really stand up, Oisin, so we're looking forward to seeing a big performance. I think Kilkenny came to Parnell Park earlier in the year, and the Dublin were going really well and have been going really well all season, and they ultimately kind of derailed Dublin's league campaign, so hopefully Dublin have learned from that, and what a game, what a chance to make a huge step for this team, and get into that Leinster final and beat Kilkenny in Parnell Park. So hopefully they'll have learned from that, and you'd have to expect a big performance from Dublin. And we know Kilkenny will come as well. They'll be hurt from the last day, and they generally always turn up. But this is a game Dublin really have to hit the ground running early, and set that intensity and show how much they're up for it as well. And as we said, if they can get a result here, it can really kick on the whole season.
And I've been there obviously as a fan for big matches when Dublin are playing in the hurling championship in Parnell Park, and the place is packed out and there's a great noise. It's great as a fan to watch that and be part of it and be there. What's it like as a player, especially when most of that crowd are behind you?
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I suppose my memories of, we didn't get to play too many championship games there, our group, but I mean, we absolutely loved home league games and that crowd and that buzz, and we without doubt we would have fed off that a lot. So with the round robin format coming in and teams getting the home advantage, so Parnell Park is the venue for championship as well. So look, there'll be a bigger crowd than any of the league games that I would have spoken about. So it's really there, I suppose you have to give the supporters something to feed off as well. And this is a game that really just a lot of Dublin lads are hitting their mid-20s now as well, and have experience over the last number of years. So this is a real game for them to really show what they're about and set a tone early, and then you can get the crowd. Maybe you get that crowd behind you, and then it'll be a huge opportunity for them, hopefully.
Okay, Dotsy Callaghan, thank you very much for joining us for the draw for the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Hurling Championships, Senior 3, Senior 2 and Senior 1. The draw, by the way, for the intermediate and the junior and the other grades and the other tiers will also be made today, and you'll be able to find out the results of that draw across the Dublin GAA social media channels and dublingaa.ie. Dotsy, with that headset, I better let you go back to playing YouTubers or computer games or whatever it is you're doing. Thank you very much.
I talk to you.
Dotsy Callaghan. Coman Goggins of Ballantyre St. John's, and of course, former All-Star with Dublin, joins me. Coman, how are you? I'm afraid you're on mute at the moment, which is the phrase of the last couple of years. We'll get to Coman in just a second. The Senior 1 and Senior 2 draws in the Football Championship about to be made. Crokes, St. Jude's, Ballyboden and Lucan are all seeded in the football, by the way, for Senior Group 1. Coman, just before we go to the draw, are you looking forward to this? Because we've had great championships in Dublin in the last couple of years. Okay, Coman is still muted, so you know what? We'll just get to the draw. Senior 2 first, the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Football Championship Tier 2 or Senior 2, whichever you prefer to call it. Doing the draw, once again, Andy Edwards, CEO of Go Ahead, Ken O'Sullivan, Vice Chairperson of Dublin GAA, and Elaine Dolan, Vice Chair of the CCCC. Let's have the draw for Senior 2.
Good evening again, everybody. I'd like to welcome Andy Edwards, who is the Managing Director of our key sponsor, Go Ahead Ireland, who sponsor our Adults Games program. You're very welcome, and thank you for your continued sponsorship of our games. Thank you. Ryan.
So here we go. 4 groups, as you can see. Nave Olaf, along with Davy Byrne, a growing club in
Parnell's.
South Dublin region. Parnell's, another club with a fine facility. Haven't been there for a few years, but they also do quite the fine carvery. Fingalians. So these clubs, as you can see, being dotted around the groups at the moment.
Trinity Gales.
4 groups of 4. Trinity Gales. So we've got 1 team in each group.
Nave Marnog.
Nave Marnog. And they'll go in with Nave Olaf in Group 1.
Ballybuckle.
Ballybuckle. Joining Parnell's in Group 2. Aaron's Isle. Former
St. Bridget's.
Dublin and Leinster champions, Aaron's Isle. St. Bridget's. Former Leinster finalists. There are some big teams in Senior 2. And that's one of them, Oliver Plunkett's. St. Vincent's also in here. Desperate to get back to the top tier. And there they are. They're in with Parnell's, Ballybuckle and themselves. And they'll be joined, obviously, by one other team. St. Anne's. And they'll go in with Fingalians and Aaron's Isle.
Round Towers, Clondalkin.
Round Towers, Clondalkin. So 1 more team to join each group. A bit of a Shark Tank Senior Football Championship too, isn't it?
St. Mary's.
St. Maur's.
And St. Sylvester's.
So that completes the draw. And because I was talking, I think we missed one. So St. Mary's are actually going to go into Group 2, I think. Group 3 will be Fingalians, Aaron's Isle, St. Anne's, and one other. Trinity Gales, St. Bridget's, and Round Towers, Clondalkin will be joined by Sylvester's, I think. Yes, there we go. St. Patrick's, Donabate, St. Oliver Plunkett's Own Route, Nave Marnog and Nave Olaf in Group 1. Parnell's, Ballybockle, St. Vincent's and St. Mary's in a very tough-looking Group 2. They're all tough, aren't they, these groups? Then Galleon's, Erin's Isle, St. Anne's and St. Maur's in Group 3. And Group 4, Trinity Gale, St. Bridget's, Round Towers, Clondalkin and St. Sylvester's. So there is the draw for the groups for the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Football Championship 2. Coman, despite me trying to ruin it by talking over it, we have got all of our groups completed. We've got your mic back up and running. It's going to be a tough championship, isn't it? And just look at some of the names in it. The names who are desperate to get back to Senior 1 football.
Yeah, really interesting draw. Obviously, you called out a couple of the big names there in respect to St. Vincent's, county champions not so many years ago. St. Oliver Plunkett's Own Rua, who are unlucky probably not to have won a county championship a number of years ago. And obviously St. Bridget's themselves, crown champion. That Group 4, with St. Bridget's and St. Sylvester's in it, is hugely competitive, and that's not to disregard Trinity Gales or Round Towers, but Bridget's, Sylvester's would certainly have aspirations of trying to regain Senior Football Championship 1 status. So it'll make that group very spicy early on, depending when fixtures are called out. From St. Vincent's point of view, they'll have a few trips into North County Dublin initially, so they'll be probably happy to draw change slightly with the trip over Southside to Mary's, Parnell's. But Vincent's within that group, given their pedigree, I know there's probably younger guys coming into the team and a change of the old guard, but they certainly are going to be a very competitive team across the championship landscape. Group 1 is interesting, and I mentioned St. Oliver Plunkett's Own Rua and Marnogues are certainly a growing club as well, and a football certainly underage, and that's starting to feed through into their senior setup as well. Olaf similarly, and then I'm living out in Donabate at the minute, so there'll be huge interest in Pats of Donabate's draw in that group, in Group 1, going very well in the league at the minute, and Adult League Division 3, so hoping to build on their intermediate success from last year to try and develop that through the championship, no doubt, later into this year. And then Group 2 is a mix around it. Certainly Fingallians as a club have, a history in terms of Dublin GAA and what they've produced, and going back to, we'll say, the likes of Kieran Duff and on into Paul Flynn, so they'd like that pedigree to be visible at Senior Football Championship 1 level, but Isles, Anns and Morse bring their own pedigree into the competition as well. So across all of the 4 groups, hugely competitive. And I guess when you're looking out into the championship landscape, what you're hoping is that everyone has an opportunity in the group to progress. The games are going to be competitive. You're hoping, obviously, that the best teams come to the fore at the right time, particularly from a management point of view. But across those groups, some really competitive matches and a lot to look forward to as we move into the Dublin Senior Championship.
Okay, Coman, for now, thank you very much. Let's go back for the draw for Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Football Championship Tier 1. Again, making the draw, Ken O'Sullivan, Vice Chairperson of the Dublin County Board, Elaine Dolan, Vice Chair of the CCCC, and off camera at the moment because he's very shy, Andy Edward, who is the CEO of Go Ahead Ireland. And our thanks again to Go Ahead Ireland for getting behind the Dublin Adult Championships in football and hurling. Okay, let's get the draw for Senior 1.
Kilmacud Crooks.
Crooks, the champions and All-Ireland finalists this season.
Ballybowden St. Enda's.
Ballybowden, previous All-Ireland winners.
St. Jude's.
St. Jude's, they've been desperately unlucky in the last couple of years.
And Lucan Sarsfields.
Lucan Sarsfields, like their senior hurlers, a growing force. Raheny, always capable of big results because they've got big players.
Rula.
Skerry's Harps.
Castleknock.
Finalists a couple of years ago, of course, Castleknock. Quarter-finalists last season.
Temple Oak Sing Street.
Ballymount Kickham's.
All-Ireland finalists a couple of years ago. Perennial challengers for Dublin.
Thomas Davis.
Another team who reached a final in recent years.
Round Towers Lusk.
Another team with a lot of good talent.
Volunteer St. John's.
Coman's Club.
Clontarf.
Na Fianna.
Whitehall, Columkill.
Challenging at a high level in both codes, Whitehall. So that's the draw. We'll just allow the groups to be filled out. Coman, this is again a really, really tough championship to call. It's tough to call who'll get out of the groups, let alone who'll win the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, the pedigree across the groups there is, phenomenal. You mentioned, called out clubs winning All Irelands, clubs competing in finals, clubs unlucky not to have won county titles. Obviously, Jude's topped the list in respect to that. A team who've been knocking on the door for so long and are lucky not to get over the line last year. In fairness to Crokes, they dug it in injury time, got a couple of scores to see out the result on the day, and then, progressed as far as an All Ireland final and lucky not to win on the day. So you can see the pedigree spread across the teams that the draw maps out there, obviously, to completion. Group 1, Kilmacud have to be fancied as favourites within that, given what they achieved last year. But Raheny had a couple of good performances last year. Temple O came up from Senior Championship 2 last year and lucky to lose out to Coola. And Ballantyre, will have, certainly to dig in to get results out of the group there, but certainly an intriguing group. Group 2, Ballybowden, Coola as winners last year, Senior Championship 2, Ballymun, Clontarf, arguably a group of death there in some respects because, really, really strong teams in there. Clontarf have put together some good performances in recent years in the Championship and have got some big scalps, so it's a matter of stitching that together consistently throughout the Championship. Ballybowden, Coola, Ballymun, pedigree speaks for themselves, with Coola certainly coming through winners twice in a row in Senior Championship 2 as such, so a good chance for them to test themselves in Senior Championship 1. Group 3, Jews, I mentioned, so unlucky not to have won a Dublin County title over the last 10 years, really consistent in what they've delivered across Senior Championship, but in a group alongside Na Fianna, who are growing and developing the whole time. I probably had a fancy for them last year that they might have won a county title. They didn't get there, but certainly are showing signs of improvement and narrowing that gap to the teams who have been winning them, and Davis, as you mentioned themselves, being competitive in reaching a county final. And Skerries again had some results last year that raised a few eyebrows, so there's a development coming there, and consistency into their game certainly helps with that. And then the final group, Lucan across both codes, are one of those clubs similar to Whitehall who seem to be able to do it at both levels. Not that there's other clubs not here that we haven't mentioned that are doing similarly. So to be competitive at both ends of the scale, football and hurling in Senior Division 1 and Senior Championship 1, really strong. Round Towers Lusk certainly didn't balk at the thoughts of Senior Championship 1 last year and developed coming through intermediate, Senior Championship 2 and into Senior 1. So you can see how the step incremental changes help a team develop. That physicality maybe at Senior Level 1, Championship 1 is different for them to get used to. And then Castleknock, a couple of years ago was Dublin County finalists themselves. So, do you sit down and pick, potential winners?
You can make an argument. Yeah,
but
you can make an
everyone
argument
has an
for every
opportunity
club
there,
here.
really.
Can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're really strong. Obviously there's some standouts that we touched on, but then there's clubs under the radar there a little bit that would love a crack off some of the bigger teams and see if they can put something together across the group games and, maybe cause one or two upsets.
Okay. Coleman, thank you very much. Just before I let you go, Dublin playing at the weekend, you're heading to Croke Park, no doubt, and looking forward to it. An old clash with Meath, always tantalising.
Yeah, well, I was in Croker for Ed Sheeran, so I'm hoping for similar fireworks there when the Dubs and Meath meet with a bit of luck. Yeah, look, Dublin and Meath is just one of those fixtures that, whets the appetite, regardless maybe of league form or anything else that's gone with it. I suppose from a Dublin perspective, a lot of talk around, where Dublin are at, how they're developing new players into the squad, and then have Meath got the firepower to maybe take on Dublin. Look, great to be back in Croke Park, great to be following the Dubs again in Croke Park, and hopefully they can put a performance together and reach another Leinster final, which we're all anticipating. There's
Coman Goggins, thinking out loud, if you will. Did you get it? That was an Ed Sheeran pun, Coman. Surely. Come on, give me something.
Okay. You're wasted, Oisin. That's a bad habit. That's a bad habit you have.
Oh my God, this could go on all day. So we'll wrap it up now. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to Ken O'Sullivan, Vice Chairperson of Dublin County Board, for overseeing the draw, alongside Elaine Dolan, Vice Chair of the CCC. Also a big thanks to Go Ahead Ireland, who are supporting adult level GAA and the club championship in Dublin. Remember, there will be live coverage of the Dublin Senior Football Championship and Hurling Championship and the levels below across Dubs TV when the championship begins. And also, I'm sure RTE and TG Car will pick up games in the club championship as they have done in the last couple of years. The draws, by the way, just to remind you, for the junior and intermediate championships have also been made today. And if you want to get the detail, you can do so by going to the Dublin GAA social media channels, or you can go to dublingaa.ie. Thank you for watching. Best of luck to the Dubs at the weekend. Of course, both senior teams in action, the ladies and camogie players also with some big games coming up over the next couple of weeks. So the very best of luck to them. And just to remind you one more time, all the details of all the draw on dublingaa.ie. Take care and bye-bye.